Hey guys, how are you this morning? Oh my god, I love doing these videos. I love sort of sharing my knowledge with you because my life's mission is to give you the knowledge to make better choices. So at the end of last year, when I decided that I was going to stop learning about metaphysics and the law of attraction and manifestation and causing an effect by all my wonderful teachers like Dolores Cannon and Rhonda Byrne and Dr. Joe Dispenza and Neville Goddard and Wayne Dyer and all the amazing, amazing teachers that I listened to. And I was like, I need to stop listening, I need to stop learning, and I really need to start implementing and mastering. And in the last couple of videos, and if you haven't watched them, please go ahead. I spoke about how I met Steve, and Steve's 67 and has been sailing his whole life, and he was here to do a sailing competition, and he sort of talked. We were talking about being present, and him really being present, so he can read the wind and see it touch the water, and we were just reflecting on how, and he was also a professional jazz musician when he was younger, and learned from really the greats in New York. And one of his teachers said to him, you have to be present and allow the music to channel through you. And in order to do that, you have to master the skill of playing the instrument. And that's sort of the same with anything, I think, is when you've really mastered something, you can play with it. And I experienced that too with salsa. So I went salsa dancing yesterday again, which I love, love, love. And honestly, it doesn't matter who I dance with, it doesn't matter what style they'll do. I'm so good at it that I can play. I can play with it. I can get back into step really quickly. I know how to what resistance to give for each lead, and the guy leading me also really enjoys it because he can play too because I follow, right? So it just becomes a playful experience, and that's really what I'm aiming for here with being the co-creator with the universe. In saying that though, I also really want to document this process because honestly and practically, because I think, not that I think, in my experience, what I found, and salsa is a perfect example, right? When I dance with someone who's brand new, I've almost forgotten what it's like to be in that stage. I'm patient. I'm a teacher, an innate teacher, so I help them out. But the fear, the fear of, oh my God, can I ask that person to dance? And I feel really uncomfortable. I only know one move. All that emotional stuff that comes with being a beginner. The feelings of not being good enough. All that ego stuff that comes in there, and with the law of attraction, like the doubt that comes in. Often when you reach a level of mastery, you've forgotten that. I mean, obviously, but I want to document this because I want you to know that if you're on the same journey as me, and you really want to master the law of attraction, and you are experiencing these things, I want you to understand that that's normal, and that you're not alone in that. And I really, my intention with these videos is to help you mitigate those things by me mitigating them and overcoming them, and sharing how I do that in with my pure intention of giving you the knowledge to do so yourself. Again, I just want to reiterate before I go into my next thing is you must experience these things for yourself. So please don't ever take what I say or what anyone says as gospel. Take what we say, implement it into your own life, experience it, and then make sure that that works for you because there's not one size fits all. And that's really important to remember. There's not one size fits all. So just, there's so many beautiful methodologies out there, but please don't think if something doesn't work for you that there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You just haven't found your thing. Okay. Side note, um, it's important to really give it a good go. Yeah, to really give it a good go. Like, so I'm going to explain what I mean by that with my example today. So yesterday I spoke to a really good friend of mine, and she's an absolute rock star. And we spent like an hour and a half on the phone together. And we gas bag, and it's amazing. I just love. I always feel so great after speaking to her. And this is the first time we spoke together. I spoke to each other this year. And so we're talking about intentions and goals and stuff. And she was saying to me, what do you want to achieve? Because, like, when I'm out there, maybe I can find someone who can help you. And we really work together like that because we're both people and we get out a lot. So, and we always like about connections. And I remember thinking to myself, and she was like, "How are you going to do that?" And I was reluctant to share my intentions with her because I thought to myself, well, this particular intention that I've got has been on my intention list for a long time, and I haven't made it happen, and I was embarrassed about that. And she knew that they had been on my list for a long time, and that's why she was saying to me, "How are you going to make that happen?" And according to metaphysics, you don't do the how; the universe does the how, and you shooting yourself in the foot by working at how, because your how is only limited by your past experience and what you know, but the universe sees it all and always steers you to what you want. Your job, my job, is to focus on what I want, to know that it's done, and to live from that space. So feel the feelings of knowing that it's done. And that's it. And it's especially this time of year where it's like planning and goal setting. It feels counterintuitive because we're so programmed to like work at how we're going to do it. And where I get stuck, where the doubt comes in, is for me is there's a difference between action and inspired action. And I'm going to give you a bit of an example here because I'm giving myself the example. So this is my pep talk as much as it is yours. So the difference between action and inspired action is this. So when I was in Bali, and I've done a video on this before, or post, um, when I got to Bali at the end of last year, I landed at 10 p.m., got in a cab, drove 2 hours to Ubud, got to Ubud, and realized that I had left my backpack, which was my hand luggage, with my laptop and all my documentation at the airport in the common area. And I swear to you guys, I have no recollection, like no recollection of leaving it there. Like I actually physically don't remember taking it off. I was very tired. I was very emotional. Um, and, I was really like vibing in a low vibe. And a lovely cab driver said to me, "Would you like me to take you back?" And I said, "No way. Like, there's no way I'm driving back 2 hours to come back 2 hours." I was too exhausted. I needed sleep, and I knew that. Unfortunately, I had my handbag with my passport and my cards and everything in there, so that it was a relief. Yeah, anyway, so the next day I sort of woke up, and instead, now the action piece, the normal action piece, would be like to go crazy. So to, do whatever you can to get back to the airport, to, run around like crazy, to panic, to go a bit AWOL about the situation. But instead, I woke up and I just chilled for a second. And the first thing I went was, whatever you do, Petra, do not, like, you speak things into existence. So I never spoke about the bag being lost. Not once. Not once did I say I lost my bag. I said I left my bag behind. And I always said I'm going to get it back. And so I had to sort of navigate and see. I was looking for people whose phone I could use because I didn't have a SIM card, and it was early morning, to phone the airport to see if they had it, if there was a lost and found. So the thing with Bali is that most SIM cards don't actually allow you to make like physical calls. You can do any like WhatsApp calls, but it's all internet based. So I was like, I don't know, like so many people, like 20 people, if I could use their phones, and none of their phones could phone. And so instead of panicking, I went, "Babe, just chill out. This is not the right time to make decisions," because I could feel myself in a low vibe. Go out and get yourself a juice. So I went out and I got a juice, and I met an Australian guy there, and we started chatting and yakking, and eventually after about an hour I said, "Hey dude, I'm just going to have to go and get a SIM card." And when I got the SIM card, my intuition said to me, "Make sure you can phone with a SIM card." Ignored my intuition, of course, and chose not to ask that question. And of course, the SIM card that I got, you couldn't make calls with. So I was like, bugger. Went back out from where my accommodation to go back to the SIM card person, the shop, and I met that Australian guy, and I said, "Oh Jesus, I can't make calls with this card." And eventually he said to me, "Here, please just use my phone. I've got roaming. You use it." And I said, "Great, thank you for that." Rang the airport, rang and rang and rang, and no one picked up. Again, I didn't panic. Okay, again, and then I was looking for taxis to get back to the airport, but the taxis were like $100 Australian, and I was like, I'm not paying that amount of money to get back to the airport, right? Forget it. Like in Bali, that is fucking shitloads of money. Um, and so then what happened was that I just left it. I went back, went looking around Ubud for a bit, and then I got the inspiration to look for a bus. Look for a bus. I was like, okay, look for a bus. It was $10, $10, 10 Australian. Booked the bus for the following day, there and back. And I was like, great, let's do it. And it actually turned out to be like a minivan, so which was like a car, and air conditioned, perfect, right? Got there, and while I was in that minivan, I've had these feelings of doubt coming up, going, oh my god, what happens if you get there and they can't find it? And I was like, push that aside, visualize my bag next to me with my laptop, and just imagine it there next to me. And I went, it's done, it's done, it's done, it's there, it's done, and I saw it, right? That's what I'm talking about, knowing it's done. And got to the airport, and cut a long story short, went through all the hoops I had to go to, and I got my bag back. Okay, nothing gone, everything there, and I knew that was the case. So that's sort of how these things work. That's the difference between action and inspired action. Like action would have been like getting in the taxi, running around like a mad person, or even maybe going back in the cab back to the airport for another 2 hours, being tired, probably getting back. The airport would have been shut because no planes for, the airport doesn't stay open 24/7, etc., etc. So I know how this works, but when it comes to something that I label big, that I really want and really want, and doubt and believe that it's going to be hard to get, or I'm allowing all this doubt to come in, right? I'm indecisive. I keep moving the goalposts. So with desire and um, getting what you want, you have to keep focused on one thing. And what I've often done is when I believe it's hard, I believe I can't get it, I move the goalposts, and then I'm like, well, maybe I don't want this, I want this. No, I know exactly what I want, and I have to keep focusing on that. And just if the doubtful thoughts come in, just like with the backpack, shove it aside and look at what I want and believe that it's already done. So that's really came up for me yesterday, and I felt a lot of like, oh my god, like as I said, like I'm not doing anything, I'm not planning, I'm not, am I being ineffective, and so yeah, so a lot of stuff came up for me there. So what I'm doing, and for me, it's really a pit in my stomach, like a real pit in like a real, my solar plexus, my stomach like crunches, and I feel this sadness and anxiety, and I know the feeling well. So back to regrouping, focusing on what I want, really feeling like I've got it. So, phew, I'm not quite sure. Like I'm not quite sure yet. This is. I really have to get this down because this is really something I want in the depths of my soul. So I'm really focusing on getting this right. So I'm not quite sure yet, guys. So, and my intention is not to have the solution to this right now because I'm still working that out. But my intention here is to share with you that I am experiencing doubt and I am experiencing shame. Am I experiencing shame? Embarrassment more than shame. Like, because I haven't got it all mapped out in front of me and all the steps, and I'm not going for it because I'm a real go-getter. So it's really, yeah, that's the constant, the action versus the inspired action. So that's where I'm at. So I wanted to share that with you in case you are experiencing something similar, and I want you to know that that's totally okay. So just if you are experiencing that, go back to the process of clear, be clear around what you want. I think when there's no clarity around what that looks like, and the real question I like to ask myself is, how do I know I have it? How do I know I have it? If I want this fabulous, this is a little, this is the best invention since sliced bread. I don't know if you guys get it in the US, but this is here in Australia. Look at this. So this is a little doodacky thing, and it's just this little obviously a little machine, little motor in here, and it's just like these ribbons, and you turn it on and it spins and it stops flies from going on your food. But if you wanted this, how would you know you had it? Well, you would hold it. You would know. You'd hold it in your hand. You'd be putting the battery in it. You'd be putting it down. You'd be turning it on. You put the food in. You know, you feel the wind of it turning around. So really, it's sensory acuity. So you feel it with your senses, right? So ask yourself if you want clarity. If you don't know if you have clarity, which is the thing for me with what I want to achieve, is I can't quite decide on one thing that I know I have it. So I keep moving the goalposts, and then that's the struggle for me. Is then I can't really focus on that. It's like the bag next to me. I could focus on that, but because I haven't got a clear picture of how do I know it's done, I can't. There's not. Keep my focus is fragmented, which then of course doesn't manifest, right? Or weirdly. So yeah, that is it, guys. So thank you for listening. And I trust that that helps you. And if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to drop them down there. And if I can help in any way, I would be delighted to do so. And also, what I'd love you to do, like always, I like us to learn from each other. So please also share how, if you have experienced something similar, how you overcame it and what you did, or who you became to really work through this. Yeah, so that would be amazing for you to share as well. Yeah, have a wonderful day. It looks like there's going to be another fantastic storm here. There was a great storm here last night. I was salsa dancing, and all of a sudden I felt this wind, and I was like, wow, thank goodness there's a bit of, it's so cool. Where's that wind coming from? And it was this massive storm, like sheeting like sheeting rain. It was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and lightning that just illuminated the beautiful sky. And I just thought to myself, oh my god, my dog is freaking out. My dog's freaking out at home, and he was totally freaking out. So yeah, anyway, mwah, ciao.